I'm the host, and today we're going to tell you about the last notification. All of us have our own little habits, things that we do repeatedly. For instance, most of us turn off our phones at night. Why? Well, to make sure they don't ring in the middle of the night and disturb our sleep. It's just common sense. So imagine what would happen if your phone, which was turned off, vibrated in the middle of the night and sent you a message that read, "I'm behind you." Well, that is exactly what happened to a woman. But how is that even possible? Let's find out. It was 3:03 a.m. when Emily's phone buzzed on her nightstand. She was deep in sleep, exhausted from a long day at her office job, but the vibration was persistent, dragging her into wakefulness. Groggily, she reached for her phone, her eyes still heavy with sleep. That's when she noticed something strange. Her phone was powered off. She distinctly remembered turning it off before bed to save battery, a habit she'd formed after forgetting to charge it one too many times. Confused, she stared at the black screen. It was lifeless, yet she had felt the vibration, heard the faint chime of a notification. She shook her head, dismissing it as a dream or a trick of her tired mind, and lay back down, pulling the covers over her shoulders. But then, the sound echoed again, louder, sharper, unmistakable. Her heart raced as she grabbed the phone. The screen remained dark, but when she pressed the power button, it flickered to life, revealing a single notification. "I'm behind you." Emily's breath caught in her throat. She lived alone in a small, quiet apartment on the third floor of an old building. The door was locked, the windows secured. She slowly turned her head, her eyes scanning the dimly lit room. The shadows seemed to stretch and shift in the corners, but nothing moved. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the pounding of her heart. Still, the message sent a chill down her spine that she couldn't shake. She checked the notification again, fumbling with the phone, but it had vanished. There was no record of it in her notification history, no trace in her messaging apps or email. It must be a glitch, she whispered to herself, her voice trembling in the quiet. But deep down, she knew something was wrong. Phones didn't buzz when they were off. They didn't display messages that disappeared without a trace. She got out of bed and flipped on every light in the apartment. The harsh fluorescence banished the shadows, but not the unease. She checked the windows, the doors, even under the bed. The apartment was empty, yet the air felt heavy, as if someone else was there, just out of sight. As she sat on her couch, clutching her phone like a lifeline, it buzzed again. This time it was on and the notification read, "I'm still here." Panic surged through her. Her hands shook as she dialed 911, her voice trembling as she explained what had happened. The police arrived within 20 minutes, 2 officers with skeptical expressions. They searched the apartment, checked the locks, and found no signs of intrusion. "It might be a prank or a technical issue," one officer suggested, jotting down notes. "Maybe a bug in the software. I'd take it to a repair shop." But Emily saw the doubt in their eyes, the way they glanced at each other. They didn't believe her, and she couldn't blame them. It sounded impossible. That night, she didn't sleep. She stayed up, phone in hand, every light blazing, waiting for another message. At exactly 3:03 a.m. the next day, her phone buzzed again. The notification read, "I'll always be behind you." Emily felt a chill crawl up her spine, her blood turning to ice water. This wasn't a glitch. It wasn't a prank. Someone, or something, was deliberately targeting her. The message was a threat, a promise, a declaration of intent. Fear became her constant companion. She jumped at every creak in the old building, every footstep outside her door. Sleep offered no escape. The buzzing in her ear, the icy fingers crawling up her neck. She was being watched. She could feel it in her bones. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. But the 3:03 a.m. messages never stopped. Emily tried to move on, to bury herself in work, to drown out the fear with busyness. But the looming dread, the knowledge that she was not alone, shadowed her every move. The vibrant colors of the city seemed too dull, its sounds growing distant. Emily retreated into herself, her world shrinking to the size of her apartment. Her only company, the phone that buzzed in the dead of night. Sometimes the messages changed. "You can't hide from me," it said one night. "I know your secrets," it hissed another. Then there were the warnings. "Don't trust anyone," it urged one night. "They're coming for you," it proclaimed another. Were these cryptic messages a warning of something more sinister? Was someone watching her, waiting for her to make a move? Or was this a twisted game of cat and mouse played by a deranged stalker? Emily couldn't tell. She was trapped in a nightmare that refused to end. Then came the night when the messages took a terrifying turn. "I'm inside your house," it said, the words slithering into her very soul. Emily screamed, her voice echoing in the vast emptiness of her apartment. She ran, she hid, she locked herself in the bathroom, burying her head between her knees. But the messages kept coming, relentless, inescapable. When the sun finally peeked through the curtains, she found herself shaking, her body trembling with fear, her mind teetering on the edge of sanity. What was happening to her? Was she losing her grip on reality, or was something sinister closing in on her? Driven to the brink, Emily did something drastic. She left the city, leaving behind the apartment, the memories, the life she once knew. She wanted to disappear, to become someone else, to outrun whatever was behind her. But wherever she went, the messages followed. In a small town far from her old life, she received the message, "I'll find you." Despair settled upon her like a shroud. She felt hunted, trapped, utterly alone. The vibrant colors of her new surroundings seemed to dim. The joyous laughter of children, the chirping of birds, all of it sounding like mocking taunts to her. Everywhere she went, she half expected to see a figure emerge from the shadows, a face she recognized, eyes gleaming with malice. Then one night, as she lay in her bed in the unfamiliar surroundings, the phone buzzed at 3:03 a.m. It was the same message. Tears streamed down Emily's face, her sobs echoing in the silent room. Who was behind all this? Why was she being tormented in this way? Was there any escape from this nightmare? Or was she destined to live in fear forever? Emily felt like a character in a horror movie. The final girl who just keeps running, hiding, hoping to survive the night. But in her case, there was no killer to find, no monster to slay. Her tormentor was a phantom, a specter that haunted her digitally, a ghost in the machine. The worst part? She couldn't defend herself. She couldn't fight back. All she could do was run, hide, and hope. But where could she go? What could she do? How does one escape a nightmare that follows you into the real world? A horror that whispers in your ear every night at 3:03 a.m. And that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed this scary story. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an upload. Now leave a comment telling us which character you liked the most. See you next time.